So now I just want to generally go over where Deadside would be based on a couple of different zones. This is pretty much just going to be me going over that on the map, showing you guys different first zones, showing you where Deadside may be in those situations, then also showing you some late game zones, showing where Deadside may be in those situations as well. So if we're getting started with an early game zone, let's say that this is the first zone of the map. Let's just say that it's, I don't know, I'll make it red, and let's just say that I'm going to edit it and move it right around here. So let's say this is the first zone of the map. Now, something that people need to understand about, truthfully, just about the way that it works, like the Deadside works as a whole concept, it's truthfully the fact that when Deadside is being used in examine and study is that people on the map, let's say that there's people landing, I'm just gonna use green here, let's say that people are landing, I don't know, right here, so Grand Glacier, Glassy Quartz, so let me actually undo that really quickly. Glassy Quartz, Grand Glacier, people are landing Olympus, people are landing Underworld, people are landing Lavish Layer, Railways, Reckless Railways, so all those people that are landing at those POIs, they all have to rotate in this way. They're all rotating from this part of the map downwards into this sort of area right here. Now, this isn't inherently mean that this is going to be congested side, but 9 times out of 10, this is going to be the part of the map in which the most people are. You know, even people from the reels right here, even people from, you know, fencing fields, they're all going to be right here congested in this area. So Deadside in this situation would truthfully be right over here in this part of the map, near Snooty Steps, near, I guess, Pleasant Piazza if you're there. But, you know, Deadside's going to be right around here. This is where the least amount of players are going to be. So if you want to get to Deadside, this is where you want to be. Now, I'm going to delete all this to show you guys how you would possibly get there. Let's say you landed, for example, Lavish Layer. If you landed at Lavish Layer and you wanted to try to get to Deadside, obviously you're not going to be going straight through the center of zone over here, right? Because that's not the smartest way to get to Deadside. What you're going to rather do is you're rather going to stay right here. You're going to rotate around the edge of the map, and this is something tactic called map wrapping, and then you're going to try to end up right here. This not only helps you avoid all this congestion in the center of the zone right here, that's not what you want. Rather, it helps you get to the edge of zone, into the dead side of zone, in a safe way. And a lot of people will do this when boats were in the game. Boats were a really easy way to get to it. Nowadays, I'd recommend from Lavish Layer, you rotate over to this little, you know, green underworld water. Use the dash ability to kind of get over there. That's the best way to find Deadside. Now, let's say you landed somewhere more in the middle. So let's say, I don't know, let's say you landed at Reckless Railways right here. If you want to get to Deadside, there's a couple different ways you can do it. First off, you can do that map wrapping technique in this way. You can use that dash water, which is really efficient and a really good way to actually, you know, rotate out throughout the area. You could actually, I'd recommend if you guys want to rotate like this, you can. You could rotate sort of left and then just find an area near this edge of the map right here if you use this little river area. But the chance of you guys finding fights there is pretty high as well. Another method, you can map wrap this way. Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with everybody from this biome if you do that, so that's a little bit irritating. You know, you could also sneak through there. You could go in this little area right here. It's a quick way to get through, and that's another strategy. But one more strategy though is if you guys literally are done looting Reckless Railways, you have all your loot and stuff, hop in this river, just swim the whole way down. Or not, you don't have to swim, you can just use mobility items to get all the way down there. So you land Reckless Railways, you just rotate really quickly, really early, all the way through right to Deadside. And it's a way that people actually rotate like that. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to deal with people probably from, you know, reels, you're gonna have to deal with people from fencing fields. There might be some fights going on around here, but still, that's another way to do it. So honestly, either way of wrapping or going through the zone, I mean, that's fine from central POIs. Yet, like I said, it is tougher to rotate Deadside in those situations, but if as you play more competitive, as you get more experience, it's definitely going to work. Now, I want to move on to some endgame zones, so let me actually delete these circles. How do I, so I'm going to delete the circle. Let's say that this is the endgame zone. Let's say the endgame zone is right around here. Let's say I'm going to draw like this zone right here. Let's say that's this zone, or actually that might be a little too big. I'm going to draw this zone right here. And then let's say that there's a moving zone that so let's say, okay, just an example. Let's say that there's going to be plenty of players right around here in this part of the zone, right? And then Deadside, obviously, in that situation is going to be over here. And let's say you as a player, you is going to be in blue, you are right here. And how do you want to rotate to Deadside, especially when this is the next zone? Now, it's a challenging task, yes, I agree. However, what you need to understand about Endgame Deadside is that, let's say the zone pulls far from the congested side of zone. So this next zone that's just popped up is pulled far. This is pulled far from the congested side of the current zone. This bigger circle is the current zone. What you need to understand is that if the next zone is pulling far from the congested side, you need to understand that the dead side will oftentimes be quite close to you, because since the zone has pulled so far, people are going to use their big mobility items to rotate far. They're going to use their mobility items and run really far into zone. They're going to use their mobility items and do all that stuff. Yeah, don't get me wrong, there will be players that are going to be staying short and trying to hope that the zone goes back and stuff. So the dead side isn't going to be that dead, but like I said, will be the dead side of the new zone, and then this back area will be the congested side. And like I said, that is kind of how it works, and also vice versa. So if the zone were to pull close, this would be flipped. But it's so if the zone were to pull close to the congested side, then this would be flipped, obviously. Let's say that the zone, for example, pulled right here. If I were to make another circle and say that this is the actual zone, if the zone pulled right there, and I were to delete this, then it would be flipped completely. Then the dead side would be quite far, and then the congested side would be quite close, because people don't have to move that much in order to get to zone. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a very specific situation, but you need to understand that in the end game, zones are constantly changing, regardless of the situation. Every single minute, every single second, they're changing. So if you guys are trying to rotate, trying to play like that, you need to understand, hey, listen, zones are going to be rotating constantly, and they're going to be changing, and the dead side is going to be changing constantly. So what you need to do is you need to scout. So let's say you're right here, for example, and you can see this whole side of zone. You can see that the next zone's pulling there. You need to constantly be looking at every side of the zone. Try to have a point of either high ground or a place where you have really good visibility that you can peek through a cone from. That's the way that you want to scout for dead side correctly. I know it's tough sometimes, but it's a really valuable way to actually play. And it's quite confusing sometimes for a bunch of people, because they don't actually understand how much they need to scout, which is really unfortunate, because that's how endgame should be played nowadays. But if you guys want to understand how to play dead side, obviously, whether it's going to be early and mid game where you have a big circle like this, or let's say you're going to have end game where it's a tiny little circle like that, what you need to make sure is that when you're playing dead side, understand that using the new mobility items such as the dash water, let's say you have a medallion, let's say you have the banana of the gods, let's say you have slat barrels, wings, any mobility item, shockwaves, anything you have, you need to use it very intelligently. Base it off of where you know Deadside is and how much actual resources you need to expend to get there. That's how you're going to succeed on Deadside. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys for understanding where Deadside actually is, how to locate it, how to play it. I know it wasn't really my normal style of text and gameplay and all that stuff, but I really do enjoy making videos like this. I think that they're a lot more informative. If you guys like videos like this, please let me know in the comments down below. But that is about it for this video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.